I just figured I'd show these real quick because I'm actually using them right now because I just did a drum video and this is what I use. This is 7 black, and this is what I was talking about. If you're going to get an 8, you can see the line right here. This piece twists off. These are 20 bucks. So if it's on the side of a car and a rock hits this, it protects the lens. That's the lens, the round part. But then you can simply pop this off. It just unscrews like one little pop, and then 20 bucks, you put a new one on. Also, because you can take these off, there's different filters you can get. You get ND filters or whatever and stick them in place of this and then put this back on. And then this is a session. This has no stabilization in it. I got this for like nothing. That's why I have it. I love it because it's small. But with the knockoffs, there's a lot of issues with knockoffs. The quality of the knockoffs is fine. It's the longevity and it's the soldering. So like if you're constantly plugging them in like I am and unplugging them, like I'm talking about like hundreds of times a week. I mean, I use these constantly. Then these will fall inside. And how do I know that? Because I've had tons of knockoffs. Also, I can't show it right now. They're upstairs. The little tripod mounts. So the threadings on the bottom are somewhat the same, but just slightly different. So I have to modify one of them. And when you flip them upside down, the GoPro ones are silver on the threads, and the knockoffs are gold. That's how I can tell the difference on the knockoff ones that I have. And those are from old knockoff cameras. I just kept them so I can have more mounts. Also on knockoffs, the other mounts that these click into, not the ones that screw on, but the little clicky, the quick release ones, I guess you'd call them, those are also a slightly different size. So when you take a real GoPro and you click it in, it moves just a little bit, and it's just enough to drive you nuts. And usually the stabilization picks that up, like it compensates for it. But sometimes it's more of a vibration and the stabilization can't handle it. There's also these. This is a Hohem gimbal. These are 79 bucks, sometimes 89 bucks. This one is for like I think it's for like a 5 to an 8 or something like that. You can stick in here. I have another one upstairs. It's for the GoPro 3, believe it or not. This is a gimbal. And the reason why I got this and the reason why it's on this pole is when you take these and you up the frame rate. So right now these are in 1080 60. So these are in this one. Well, see, this one's 1080. This one isn't. See this? That's my 240 camera. So that's 240 FPS and 1080. And when you do that, the stabilization turns off. When you do like 120 or 240, it turns off. So that's what you need the gimbal for. I'm not familiar with the 5s because I went straight from the 3s. I had a whole pile. I gave a whole mess of them away. I had a whole pile of 3s and 1s and 2s, and I gave them all away, but I still have the gimbal for the 3, and I jumped from the 3 to the 7. And the 3s have no stabilization whatsoever. But I set these up with the app, and you can do a lot of setting up now that they have the touchscreen on the back. I have these set, I forget what it's called, but I have them set, so this one, this is why I have the labels on them. So my 1080, I'm gonna grab my 1080, it's gonna be in the case, and I'm gonna simply hit the record button. It's automatically gonna start recording video in 1080 60 wide. There's wide, linear, and super wide. It's called super view. It's like super wide. It makes the edges kind of really distorted though. Most of my car stuff is in wide. So because I have them already set that way, I just like set and forget. I simply point it. I don't even turn the app on and look. Sometimes I'll look in the screen. Most of the time I don't. It's such a wide angle. I just hit record. You know, I put the suction cup on people's windows and I just go for it. And if you've watched any of my stuff, that's how I do everything. I don't use the app. I don't use nothing. They're set up and ready to go. Same with this session. This session is set up. I simply hit this button. I can actually do this one right now because this one has a battery in it. Those ones don't have the batteries in them right now. When you hit that, it's just going to automatically start recording. It's in 1080 60 and it's ready to go. See, it's at 60, it's at 1080. Oh, it's on a medium angle. I don't know why I did that, but that one's ready to go. And I can just point it and that's it. That one's done. The weird thing about the 7s, now I don't know, so the 3s were different. I don't know about the 4s, 5s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. They might have fixed this problem. So when you want to record a long time, you need to plug it in. Now the old ones, you can leave the battery in them. The 7s you cannot. When you plug it in, it'll turn off. You need to take the battery out and then plug it in, and then it'll record till the card is full. So that's an issue with these that they say they fixed with firmware, but mine have not been fixed, and I hate updating. Once my stuff is running out of the box, I never update anything because it works. I don't want to break it. The new ones, they might have fixed that issue. Everybody always complains about GoPro batteries not lasting. So the session is internal, can't get it out of there. These you can buy extras. And the batteries are different. Some are blue, some are black. The black ones are the ones that come with these. The blue ones are made for the newer cameras. There's a different thing for those. The voltage is just a hair different, but they do work in here. But a lot of people complain about the longevity of the batteries. So what I always recommend to people, charge your batteries like the night before. Pull them out of the camera and set them aside. Do not leave them in the camera. For some reason, there's like a slow discharge when they're left in the camera. That's a GoPro issue. It's like a thing they've always had with all their cameras except for the ones. But so always charge everything the night before, pull all the batteries out, leave them to the side until you're ready to use them, then pop them in. The other issue people have, they always complain about, when you look at forums and stuff, people complain about their card not working properly and stuff. These are a little bit finicky. They do have issues, you know, but when you go to buy the card, you go to the GoPro website and they have a list of all the acceptable card brands and sizes. They're very particular about the cards that go in these. So you can't just buy like a GoPro and shove the biggest modern card in it, because you have to buy whatever was made for this in that day that that these were made. You can't just go shove anything you want in there and format it and it works. You'll have tons of errors. You're going to lose a lot of footage, and people complain all the time, these things suck. And I'm like, well, what do you got in there? And it's always wrong. So that you have to be very particular about that and make sure, figure out what size you want, how much it's going to record. These, what do I have in these anyway? As far as size, I think these are 128 gig. What is this? This is a 128 gig. So at 1080/60, that's going to record for 7 hours and 40 minutes. So almost 8 hours will fit on that card. And that's the card that was recommended for these cameras. They had a 256, but I couldn't afford it at that time because I bought these new when these first came out. But those are the little, like, idiosyncrasies, I guess you'd say, that these things have. But once you know all that stuff, you simply set it and forget it and just go bam, and they're running. They're ready to go. You don't have to worry about nothing. If it's on wide, you just kind of aim it. I mean, yeah, they got a screen on it, and I just point it. It's such a wide angle, it doesn't matter. So here's the batteries. I number them all because I use them all in order, and I charge them all the night before. And so I try and use them in order. But then this is what I was talking about. These are black. These are blue. These are the new ones. The voltage is such a slight difference. I'm too old. I can't read the numbers. I can't read them. But there's such a different thing, and they do act slightly different in the camera. Like when I pop it in, the camera turns on and stuff. They're kind of weird, but they are made for this particular camera. These are also finicky with the plugs that you plug into the wall. So I usually keep these in my bag. So if I really want them to run a long time, I'll just plug them into these. These are like those little portable power pack things. I'll actually put this in somebody's car somewhere. If I have this on a roll bar and I know it's gonna go a long time, I'll plug it in. And these are weird with the plugs. So the plugs are all different too. So the thing I'm videoing this with right now is a Samsung Note 20 Ultra. And the Note 20 Ultra is very particular about the voltage in the plug, the actual physical little plug that plugs into the wall. These seem to be that way too. If you grab like a super old plug and you plug these in and turn them on, it'll turn off. It's really weird, like it's not getting enough power. So I know that the wattage, or what is it? this camera is like 5 volts. These run between 3 and 5. But some of the older plugs, they're just like 1s, which is fine for an older phone. But when you plug these into the wall with a 1, it'll work for a little bit and then it'll turn off. So they're very particular about that. So you have to make sure you use the correct plug. I don't know if GoPro makes their own. I just use phone ones, but my phones have to have 5. I don't know. I could be getting my numbers wrong, but somebody else can confirm that, but like the correct numbers. But these are finicky with older wall plugs from older phones. If you just plug them in, it doesn't have enough juice to really run them. I hope some of that information helps.